This is a bit of a weird one because it's not about internet shit that's been going on. This is just a life update, basically. I just wanted to talk about something that's been going on in my life recently. It's non-political. Nothing political about this. Chill out, guys. It's got nothing to do with us versus them fighting the culture war. Nothing like that. Which is just that I've been working at a business as temporary staff for the past, like, 3-4 months or so. And I was just told a couple of days ago that it would be my last day on Friday because they said they couldn't afford to keep on 4 temporary staff. And I was just thinking about the operation of the business and my role there. And I don't know, I just want to get off my chest some of the shit that pissed me off about it. So basically I was temporary staff at this business, which I got through a temping agency. And it's difficult because I like the easy money. You know, it's easy money. The job was like very brain dead and brainless. And I didn't have to think or do much at all. I had my headphones on a lot. And yeah, I would browse the internet even though I was not supposed to do that. But the reason that I did that is because the job was so incredibly boring. And that's because I was given the grunt work. So I was doing like kind of filing and scanning and photocopying and just basic data stuff. Very boring. Not a lot of space for human interaction or creative thinking or problem solving. Just really boring shit. But I did think that I was put in a difficult position by the business based on how I was trained. When I started there, I was trained by this girl who soon left, and they trained me on like using the phone, so you know, taking phone calls, and then doing things called jobs where I like write down one of the technician's jobs and stuff, and these various processes, and they trained me on that for like 2 or 3 days, and then they didn't end up putting me on the phone, so I spent 2 or 3 days doing this training that I didn't use, so I don't know why the hell they gave me that. Some of the training they gave me I ended up using for the boring shit, like the scanning and photocopying and linking files and so on. I was basically just put in the corner to just do this total mindless grunt work, like extreme repetition. It was really weird because they had another temporary worker who was doing grunt work as well, who they didn't train in the phones. Like they didn't train him how to take phone calls or process jobs or anything. And then randomly one day they were like, Tim's doing a good job at the boring filing and scanning and photocopying and shit, so we'll take this other temporary worker and we'll put him on the phones, even though they trained me in the phones. So I didn't quite understand why that was. So they put that guy on the phones. And then because he was having like human interaction, actually talking to people, he's at the front line of the business because he was like dealing with inquiries and coordinating with people. Over time, he became more and more valuable to the organization, whereas I feel that because they put me on filing and sorting boxes and stuff, eventually the management was like, you know, we've got too many temps, we've got to get rid of some of them. So they kept the 2 temps who were on the phones. One of the temps was hired to be on the phones, so that one doesn't really count, because like that's why she was there. But the other guy I worked with, they randomly put on the phones, even though they trained me for it, and then I became useless to the organization, and that's why I got cut. And then there was another girl who was doing like filing shit, and she got cut too. And after a while from doing this grunt work, they said, well, we'll get Tim onto doing these purchase order things, you know, when orders come in for different products and then Tim has to process them, and then I receipt and update them, and somebody somewhere pays it. No one ever told me like, okay, on these invoices, who is paying who the money? Like I had to kind of figure that out myself. Like, okay, we're paying them, they're paying us, I think. And they never told me what it meant when I receipt and update something. Does that mean that we're still going to pay it, or we've already paid it? And when something comes across my desk, does that mean I should receipt and update that always, or are there some things I shouldn't receipt and update? Because eventually I was just like, all right, I'm just receipting and updating all of these different things. And eventually one of the people came along and they're like, Tim, stop receipting and updating things. I was like, why? Was I not meant to do that? That's what I was told to do. And they're like, no, look, management's just getting very concerned that our costs are really spiraling out of control. We didn't know what's going on. And I was like, is that because of me? I don't know. No one ever explained exactly what I was doing. If I was like causing money to disappear or something, I don't even know how or why. It was a total mess. And they kept adding all these different safeguards. They were like, okay, you can approve documents or whatever. And then one day they were like, we've taken away your ability to approve documents. I was like, okay. And even just earlier this week, like this girl come up, you know, can you approve this invoice for me? And I was like, no. I can't approve things anymore. I don't even know why I can't approve things. They just said that I couldn't. Like, I don't know, it's just real funny. You get given training and stuff you don't end up doing, and then the stuff you do end up doing, there's no process. We're going to sit the temps down, we're going to explain where they sit in the business, we're going to explain what they're doing, what the purpose is. We're going to say, with these invoices, this person's paying this person, this is the process, these are the steps you go through. If you have inquiries, if you have problems, this is how to talk to us, and this is how to contact us, and etc. It was nothing like that. It was just like, alright, we'll get you on these purchase orders. I'm like, what are they? Like, oh, you know, just doing orders and stuff. Like, who's paying who? Well, you know, it's just stuff that's going on with the business or whatever. You need to receipt and update these. What does that mean, receipt and update? I don't know, what does that mean? You need to get the invoices off the list. What's the list? That's the list of invoices. And I was like, well, what does it mean to take something off the list? And that means it's no longer in your queue. And I'm like, what's the queue? I guess I'm just talking about this because it did make me think about also my YouTube life and like making videos and stuff. I make videos because I really enjoy it, because it's really fun, and I'm passionate and interested in lots of different things, so if I didn't have that, I would have no reason to make videos. I don't necessarily have the popularity or whatever to make a living off this kind of thing, and critics of mine and naysayers often make it all about popularity, like, you're not popular, people don't like your point of view or something, you're not influential, that's why you should just give up. You should just give up on YouTube and forget about it, no one cares. But built into that is the idea that I do this for influence or popularity or anything. To me, those would be like nice bonuses. It would be lovely if I was more popular and influential. I would see that as a positive thing, and I'd like that. But, you know, I'm still making videos now, despite not being the largest YouTuber with the biggest subscriber base in the world. And I think if I was going to give up because I didn't have enough subs or whatever, I would have done that a while ago. The thing about doing that repetitive, boring, brain-dead, brainless thing in the office for hours on end, and the only way that you can try to deal with that is listen to music or listen to some podcasts or like look at Facebook and people tell you, what, don't use the internet. Don't use the internet here. What you're supposed to do is just sit around being confused by why you're here and do incredibly repetitive tasks where you don't interact with other human beings. Thinking about that in contrast to making YouTube videos, being creative, and making money off that and getting support. Now the second thing would be nice. Sure, it'd be nice to get money off YouTube. I have a Patreon, but I never plug it. I guess give me some money, I'll put that in the thing. But I don't think I could ever develop the mentality where I thought my YouTube channel or my online presence is the way that I want to make money. Because it seems weird. I just talk about these things because I'm interested in them. It would seem very strange to say that's where I get my money. I get my money from just these videos of me rambling about shit that people seem to like for some reason. Or dislike, depending on who they are. It's not like making YouTube videos isn't hard work in the sense of the hours that you have to put in, like editing and sourcing and doing a variety of things to put these videos out. But to me, and maybe it's just an old school mentality of mine, it just doesn't feel like being at a job, being on a payroll, and just getting paid to do whatever, which feels like, that to me, that feels normal. That feels like what you're supposed to do, which is why I will do a job where I just do scanning and photocopying for hours on end and have no problem with that. I'll just be like, yeah, that's fine. But it's very difficult to keep up with even a boring and shitty job when your training is just totally all over the fucking place. I think if I end up doing another role of some kind, consistency would be important to me. And feeling like I know what the goals are and I know what my place is in that organization, that would be awesome. In the meantime, donate to my Patreon, I suppose. And just final thing on having to spend money. So a couple of days my cat started acting really weird. Normally he comes to the door and he scratches at the door and he's like, give me food, give me food, give me food. And then you go feed him and shit and then he's like off your case. But a couple of days ago, there was no scratching at the door in the morning. I opened the door and he sat outside the bedroom door just like not moving, not doing anything, like, hey kitty, what's up? He's like, okay kitty, I'll get you some food. So go to give him some food. He didn't run in his usual way to get the food, like in excitement. He just slowly walked over, like, ate a little bit of food and then went and sat under the bed and just like, I tried to pet him and he's just like, kitty. So I was trying to figure out what the fuck was wrong with him. I actually came back on my lunch break and played with him a bit. And I did manage to get him to play a little, but then he went right back to just being like... So I booked in with the vet and I took him in, and then it turned out that he had a blocked bladder. He wasn't able to pee for like 12 to 14 hours. Made him incredibly lethargic, and I said to the vet, you know, was he in pain? And the vet was like, oh, hell yeah. oh, hell yeah, he was in pain. Like, he said, you have a very stoic cat. Your cat can take a lot of pain. I'm like, yeah, that's Belthy. He's a fucking alpha. But anyways, ended up having to pay for having a catheter inserted, and that's gonna cost anywhere between $500 to $1,300, and that's timed with losing this temporal. So I'm not like poor or anything. You know, I come from a very privileged background. I'm gonna get by. It's just $500 to $1,300 to spend on your cat's nothing to sneeze at, and I have to give him a special diet so that these crystals don't form in his pee, which block him up again. And apparently it's because male cats, they have a totally fucked up pee canal, whereas females, the superior gender when it comes to cats, apparently, they have got like a much more straight one, so they don't get blocked up and shit. But yeah, it just made me think of those things like GoFundMe pages like Save Tim's Cat, Super Chat, Help Save Balthazar. You love the Demotivator opinion channel, but did you know it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for his cat Balthazar, keeping him sane every single day? Save Belthy so the Demotivator opinion channel that you love so much doesn't go away. Why? And hilariously, an anti-feminist dude I know was like, let's do a charity stream for Belthy, and that might help me with my expenses a little bit. So, if you want to save Belthy, donate to my Patreon. He's a cute little man, and he's fucking stoic. He's an alpha male. Anyways, that's my general rant about something entirely unrelated to this stupid culture war that never ends online. That should die in a fire.